So for this foster parent diary entry, we're going to be talking about respite care. We're also going to be juggling both of the little kids. Luckily, Darcy is occupied, but Sawyer wants to be a part of this.
Yep. If you hear some click-clacking, that is our dog walking around the kitchen.
Yes. Crosley is always click-clacking.
Yep.
So since I usually do all the talking, why don't you tell them what respite care is in the foster care kind of like world?
Yeah, so respite care is when a foster family watches kids for another foster family. They might go out on a date that night, or they might be out of town, or, you know, on some kind of vacation or something like that, and the kids stay with another family. We've only used it, I think, twice.
Yeah, for us,
Miss A.
For us, we've used it twice for a previous foster kiddo.
Yeah.
One was because it was a grown-up trip, so none of the kids were coming.
Just Whitney and I.
Yeah, and the other time we actually didn't get permission, so she stayed with somebody who was cleared to do respite care.
Now you eat them. Sawyer's gonna eat his peas while we make this video.
Yeah.
So respite care, even though it's not always the best option, sometimes some good can come out of it. Like Miss A stayed with a woman, younger woman. Pretty good relationship formed from that.
And respite care is also an overnight, so it has to be like an overnight stay, not just like a babysitting for a couple of hours.
You know what? Kind of in a transition phase. So
Yeah.
Miss A went back home. I guess it's been like over a month now.
It's been about a month.
Yeah, and we're not quite ready yet to take in new kids. Respite care is something that we can probably do. So we told our agency that, you know, if any kids need respite care, to give us a call.
Yeah, and this is also something that people can do. You can get just your license to be a respite care provider. It's a good way, we've talked about, to kind of dip your toe in the water and, you know, start to experience how things work. So in our situation with our private agency, if we had a current foster placement and we needed respite care, we would contact our agency and they would coordinate it. So the same thing, if we have open beds, our foster agency is going to contact us if there's another family in our network that needs respite care. So typically we haven't had any extra beds, and so for that reason we don't get called.
Yeah.
But we have had a call when we did have a placement, but we had an extra bed. And I think for that one, we talked to our foster placement at the time and asked if they were comfortable with it. We gave the information that we knew, you know, how long it was going to be. And they were okay with it, but it ended up falling through for some reason. And then we also got a call, actually it was right before Miss A, our previous foster daughter, had reunified and returned home. We got a call ahead of time about a respite situation a few weeks after she would be going home. And so again, we coordinated, we said yes, and it fell through.
So we recently got a call about 4 kiddos that are going to be going into respite care for a weekend. There's 2 teenagers and 2 around the age of 5 or 6. Mm-hmm. And we don't have 4 beds. We don't have enough to take all 4 in. I think we can probably take 2. Mm-hmm. So that's what we told them.
And we told, like, I think that they were reaching out if we were able to take 2. And it sounds like they're splitting it, like the 2 teens and then the 5 and the 6-year-old. And so when we get this call, you know, our initial reaction is like, yes, 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 like, let's do it. This timing actually is pretty nice because it's right before we're planning on opening back up to more permanent placements. And I say permanent placement meaning not just respite care. You know, a child can be placed with us for a year, a few weeks, you know, something like that. And when you get this call, you can ask your agency the same type of questions you would ask during a regular placement call. You can ask, you know, if there are any behaviors that you should be made aware of. Maybe
ask like favorite foods, routines, things like that, so that when they come in, you can, you know, give them some of the things that make them feel comfortable.
Yeah, you kind of can coordinate that with the other foster parent.
I feel like you get a lot more information when you're taking a kid in for respite care as opposed to foster care, because when they're getting removed from the home, they don't have that much information, like hardly at all. They're not going to tell you their favorite cereal and all these things. But if it's respite, you can talk to the current foster family, and they're going to give you a lot of information.
And that's another reason why it might be beneficial for people to start off going through the licensing process, getting to the point where you can be a respite provider and just, dip your toe in, like I said before, because you do have more information versus when we get placement calls, which we're going to share with you as soon as they start happening again. It's very limited information that we're receiving, and we're making a decision whether or not this kid is going to stay with us. So for this particular case, they are trying to kind of split it with the older and the younger, and they said at this point it would be whatever is convenient for us. And so I immediately said, we would be really well suited for the teens, but also because Darcy's almost 5 years old, she's around the same age as the younger kids. I think John and I both agree we'd rather have the older kids just because it's more relatable. Like, we can watch movies with them, we can talk to them, we can build a connection. Younger kids, they're off playing and going crazy.
They're doing their own thing.
Yeah. But then our agency had asked if we could transport them, if we could pick them up at their school on that Friday of that weekend and then drop them off Monday morning. So then it just became a logistics situation. And they told us what time the high school started versus the younger kids' school. And unfortunately, we had to say it would be really difficult for us to get our kids to daycare and the older kids to their high school just because of the distance.
It's far away. Starts really early.
It starts pretty early.
I don't mind getting up early. I always get up early, but our kids throw a wrench in that.
Yeah, so we said we would be open to both if we got transportation support, but convenience-wise, it would probably make sense for us to be open to the younger kids.
Yeah.
So we're kind of waiting and seeing. It's going to be confirmed by the end of this week. If it does happen, these are not situations that we're going to film because it's a new situation. It's new kids who we don't know as well, and so we really want to not only protect the confidentiality, but just respect them just staying here. But we will do a video talking about the experience. It's new for us.
Yep. We've never had any kids in respite care.
Yeah. How do you feel about it?
I'm excited for it.
Yeah?
My mom actually got a license to do respite care, and I feel like that's something that's really good if you become a foster parent and your immediate family says, like, if I can do anything to help, tell them, like, okay, get your license as a respite care provider, because Winnie and I have gone out of town one time and Miss A stayed with my mom, and that worked out really well. So, and same goes if you have family that is a foster care provider, then maybe you can get your respite care license in case something emergency happens and they need an overnight. So something to think about.
It's really important. And as always, make sure you're checking with your county, your private agencies. Ask questions regarding what that licensing process looks like, what their policies are around respite care. We're just speaking from our experience with our agency, and it always depends. So what else do they need to know about respite care? From a foster parent standpoint?
It varies wildly. It could be one night, or it could be 2 weeks?
I think it's up to 2 weeks.
Is it up to 2 weeks?
Yeah.
So it could be a huge range of time.
And sometimes, like we described, it's used for vacations or an overnight out. But other times, the reason they call it respite care in foster care is because a foster family might have a placement that has some pretty extreme behaviors, maybe some mental health issues that take a lot of care and attention, and respite care is really meant to help support that foster family so that they don't get burned out, so that they can recharge, so that they can take care of things that they need to take care of. And while I wouldn't encourage a foster family to use respite care all the time, I think in certain situations it's not something to be ashamed of as a foster parent, that you would ask for it even if you don't have a trip. But I would say just not overusing it. And one more thing to mention about respite care is the per diem that a foster family gets per day from where we are. For us, it's per day the child is with you. You get a small amount of money to cover everyday expenses. That per diem when the child is in respite care actually goes to the foster family who they're staying with. So if you choose to use respite, or be a respite care provider, it's always where the child is staying that night is who would be given that per diem.
Yep.
So that's how it works where we are. It has come up in previous videos.
If you guys have any experience with respite care, we would love to hear about it. Leave a comment below.
Because we have none. We have zero experience. All right, you guys, thanks for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe. Coming up very soon, I'm going to be doing a foster care book review, so you do not want to miss that video. So make sure your notifications are on, and we will see you next time.
Bye.